Good morning. We're holding on Lamed Aleph Amud Beis by Masav Rava. It's the middle of the page. It's 31b. Middle of the page, a little above the middle of the page. Okay. What happened here? I'm sorry. We thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. So we're learning Shabbat based in English immediately. We're learning the Nishmas, David Golda Basparch Binyamin, and Sanos Ben Ben Sian, and for Shleim for Achim David Ben Sarah, and Gedalia Getzel Eliezer Ben Fegitz for. Okay. Sorry. So what happened here was there was one fellow that, first of all, there's people arguing over a property. One of them has witnesses that he was there for 3 years, and he also has witnesses that it belonged to his father. The other one had witnesses that he was there for 3 years. So we had a discussion between Rav Nachman and Rava if we can trust the witnesses regarding that it belonged to his father, because we already see that they're liars because they're contradicting each other about who was there for 3 years. Well, that was one machlekes. Then the one that didn't have the witnesses before that it was his father now brings witnesses that it's his father. So now we have a discussion if the Beis Din will retract from their original psak because new evidence was brought in, or does it not look correct? Like the Beis Din is wishy-washy. They can't make up their mind. They say this, they say that. So Rav Nachman said over here, "Anan achtinan, anan maskinan." We brought him down. We'll bring him up, and basically, what's going to happen now is that they each had witnesses that they were in the property for 3 years, which that gets canceled out because that's contradictory witnesses. They each have witnesses that belong to their father. So, well, that's contradictory also. That gets canceled out. What's going to happen now is they're just going to have to fight it out. But what happened previously was that since only one of them had witnesses that belonged to the father, so we put that person in the property. So now Rav Nachman said we have to take him out of the property and let them fight it out from scratch. It's called Kol Da'olam Gvar.
Yeah, in Jewish law, when the Beis Din makes a ruling, are they able to reassess the situation?
That's part of this discussion.
Jewish law is that done?
If we don't suspect there's elusive Beis Din, then you can do that. Yeah, if there's new evidence, we'll do it. You're asking if there's a court of appeals. If you can appeal a case in Jewish law. Is that what you're asking?
Not sure. In American law, they do everything at once, and then they can't try the same thing again.
Oh, can you try the same case again? No, it's already been paskin on. But if there's new evidence, that's a different story. Yeah. Okay. So Masav Rava has a question on Rav Nachman. V'temer Rab Zira. Some say it's Rab Zira. Maybe Rab Zira. We're talking about a woman whose husband disappeared. 2 people say that he died, and 2 witnesses say that he didn't die. So there's 2 witnesses say that he gave her a good divorce, and 2 witnesses say that he didn't give her a good divorce. Well, harezu leitinase. We don't let her get married. Well, why don't we let her get married? Because we don't know what the situation is. We have contradictory witnesses if she's divorced. What's her original status? If we would just make a chazaka, just like, what would we assume without any of these witnesses? Well, we assume that she's married because that's what she was beforehand. We know that she's married. The question is she now not married? That's our question. Is she now not married? Why would she not be married? Either by death of the husband or divorce, and that we're not sure of. So which means that her status quo would be that she is married. So we say she can't get married. But if she does get married, we don't make her get divorced. Now the Rashbam points out that the Gemara in another place that quotes this, that this is quoted from, says over there that she's marrying one of the witnesses that said that the husband died. So in other words, he himself knows the truth, and she also she knows the truth. Question is, what does the Bezdin know? Because we have contradictory witnesses here, but we can't make them get divorced when they know the facts. Okay, yeah, there are certain cases where we don't allow her to marry the witness. Remember that we had cases like that. Anyway, this is when there's two witnesses. It's a different stuff. Rabbi Menachem bar Rabbi Yosi, he says, Teitzei. No, we make her get divorced. Why? Because her status was that she was a married woman, and she is not free to marry someone else. Rabbi Menachem bar Yosi says, Teitzei, when do I say that she has to get divorced from this person that she just married? That's only if the two groups of witnesses came, and then she gets married. So we don't trust either of those groups, and so therefore she should not be getting married. They cancel each other out, and she has her status is that she's a married woman. She can't marry someone else. Let's say that's not what happened. Let's say two witnesses come and say she's divorced or her husband died. That means that she's free to get married. So she goes ahead and gets married. Then afterwards, two witnesses come and say, actually, her husband didn't die. Actually, she's not divorced. So then that's when that's when we'll say that we don't make her get divorced. Now, what's the difference? If she was married before, if she was married after. So the Gemara's understanding from this, or his Rava or Reb Zer's understanding, that the issue is she lucid the Beidina, that it doesn't look good for the Bezdin. First, the Bezdin says, yes, you can get married. And then the Bezdin says, no, you can't get married. You have to get divorced. So we have a question on Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman said, we don't have to worry about what people say. Does it look good? It's good PR for the Bezdin. Nachman says that we don't have to worry about that. We're above that. And then comes Rav Menachem bar Rabbi Yosi and says that's not true. We do have to worry about that. According to this, if once the Bezdin says that she's allowed to get married, even if witnesses come afterwards that would tell us that she's not allowed to, if she was married already, we don't make her get divorced.
I think we learned that after the case, after a court case, and turned out that he found like a star or something for his property. After, I think it was one case, someone had a chazaka and the witnesses, the other had witnesses. Later, after the case, he found a star.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah.
That works also the other way. Certain men want to be able to testify.
No, why would that be? I don't know about that. There were certain women that we didn't trust. Mother-in-law, the Tzara, the second wife. Those yeah. Okay.
Is saying the disgrace of the Beis Din, is that a euphemism for something else?
I'm not sure. Why do you think that?
Well,
it was
because
just...
emes is emes, even if somebody, gets a red face.
Oh, I understood that there is a concern, because of future cases or that the Bezdin had a concern not to just be wishy-washy, I think keep changing your mind. Once there's a psak, you have to keep it.
So, second question is to go back to the basic for this argument. So this is relevant to who stays in the land, what happens in this land dispute, right?
Right.
So it would say if you leave things as is, does that mean that always the person occupying the land would go back and occupy the land?
So what we were saying here is that we were going to take everyone out of the land and let them argue about it. That's the way the Rashbam put it. If you see the Rashbam, the Avasehi, it's like towards the wide lines. It's not. It's still in the skinny lines, but like maybe like 5 lines up. It says both of them have the 2 sets of witnesses, the Chazak and Navis. No one is stronger than the other.
So who's it? I'm sorry.
Whoever stronger wins. Called the Olam Gvar.
So who's the plaintiff and who's the defendant?
Yeah, there was. We started off where we didn't say. Most cases start off my bias bahayara. What are you doing in my property? Right. That's how most. This case didn't start off like that. This case started off with each one is claiming that it's his father's, and each one's claiming that he was in the property for the last 3 years.
It's just weird, most of the cases we had, all those cases one after another, but the Gemara was really deciding who has the burden of proof, who's the plaintiff
Right.
and who's the defendant, and that was often decides the case.
Right.
Here,
this was a little different.
Okay, thank you.
So it says, Amalei, Rav Nachman says to Rava, after he asked him this question, he says, I was ready to take the person out of the field. I wasn't going to care about Zilusa de Beidina. I was just going to, retract from my original decision. However, now that you've asked me this question, Vaisvan Rav Hamnuna Basura and Rav Hamnuna Basura also asked me this question. We don't have a record of that. Rav Nachman's telling that to us. I'm not going to retract my decision, and I'm going to leave the guy that we put in there, and we're going to be concerned about Zilusa de Beidina. That's what Rav Nachman says to Rava. Nafak, go out from this court case. And Avadavta, Rav Nachman does exactly the opposite. He takes the guy out of the property and he tells him to fight it out. People watching, or someone watching, thought that must have been a mistake. It's not so. What happened was he found big, wide trees that he could support himself on. That's referring to great rabbis. That he found other support. In others, from Rav Menachem bar Rabbi Yossi, it turns out that there was a question on Rav Nachman's din. But he doesn't have to be worried about Rav Menachem bar Rabbi Yossi because he has a bunch of other rabbis, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, which we're about to see. They all hold that you don't have to be concerned about Zilusa de Beidina. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have to be concerned. He's not concerned with Rav Menachem bar Rabbi Yossi. Menachem bar Rabbi Yossi held that we are concerned about Zilusa de Beidina. Now Rav Nachman, Rav Nachman, who's a Amira. Rav Nachman bar Rabbi Yossi is a Tana. Rav Nachman is Amira. Rav Nachman he changed from the question that Rav asked him. He changed from that, and the way he answered that, because he has support from 3 other great Tanoim. The Tanan, as it was taught in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda says, "Ein mal nekun al pi edachad." Let's say there was a person that is claiming he's a Kayan, and one witness says that he's a Kayan. He wants to be able to duchen, he wants to get truma, wants to do the Kayan things. So Rabbi Yehuda holds that if there's only one witness, that's not good enough. We need 2 witnesses. And Amar Rabbi Lazar says, when does Rabbi Yehuda say that? Rabbi Lazar is not arguing on Rabbi Yehuda, he's explaining Rabbi Yehuda. Masai, when do we say this? Makim Sheishayrim. That's only if there were people that were saying that he's not a Kayan. Then we'll need 2 witnesses. But if there's no one that's contesting this, then you can use 1 witness. No one said differently. So if no one says differently, then 1 witness is good. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Mishum Reb Shimon ben Askan. Shimon ben Gamliel says in the name of Reb Shimon ben Askan. Malam lakun al pi yedecha, that you can actually use one witness to make a person into a kohen. The Gemara says, 1 second. Shimon ben Gamliel, I know Rabbi Lazar. Who said that you can use one witness? Rabbi Lazar says you can use one witness if there's no one contesting. And Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says you can use one witness. So that's not, they're not arguing. Why do you have to bring another opinion in? The Gemara says maybe the difference between them is how many people are contesting this. We said if there are contesters, that he's a kohen. So it would go like this. Rabbi Lazar would hold that if there's one person that's contesting, that's already a problem, and then another witness can't turn the person into a kohen. It's 1 against 1, right? And Reb Shimon ben Gamliel savar trey. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel would hold that no, one person that's saying he's not a kohen wouldn't do it. We would need 2 people to say that he's not a kohen. Otherwise, if it's just 1 against 1, we would say that he's a kohen.
1 witness.
1 witness. Or it would be just 1 against 1.
Is it a conclusion for you that 1 witness would equal to many?
No, 2 is equal to I don't know how many.
So what?
Trey Kameya. But 1 is not satisfactory.
We needed 1 witness to prove that someone, I think like widow,
Yeah. You can use 1 witness to allow a woman to get remarried. We would trust 1 witness. That was a special leniency that we had. There was part of that was because we assumed that the woman herself would also verify that the husband was really
Right.
dead.
Maybe he was already acting and treated as a Kohen. And the first challenger is one he said he's not, and so he brought one that said he is, and then
Right.
he would stay a Kohen.
Chazaka. That makes sense. Where does it say that? It says that somewhere. I'm just not seeing it right now in the Rashbam.
He was talking about promoted. There's some notes here. Robert Blizzard, controversies. Single witness testimony is sufficient to promote it.
Yeah. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel also holds a single witness. But Rabbi Lezer says that yeah, and that's the translation of the word malin. I don't know if that's a proof. Okay.
But he also
So-
holds that 1 person against.
Right. And Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says that 1 person again doesn't. So we're asking Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, but like, how does it 1 against 1? How does that work? Rabbi Yechanan, the Gemara says, 1 second. Rabbi Yechanan says that there's no such thing as contesting unless you have 2 witnesses. 1 person saying something is meaningless. Yeah, it's like 1 bad review on Amazon. Like, that's not enough of a proof that it's no good. Maybe it's someone in a bad mood or something. That doesn't mean anything. 1 person can't contest. So Ella Iritrei. It must be that there's 2 people that are contesting. Now, what's going to be the machlekes now? We have to create a machlekes because that's the Jewish way. We have to create a machlekes because we have 2 opinions in this brisa. So we have Rabbi Lozer's view and we have Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, and they both seem to be saying the same thing. So it says, "Hachem mayaskinan." What are we dealing with? We're talking about where we have a chazaka that this person's father was a kohen. Okay. His father was a kohen. Now there's a rumor that maybe this son, something's off. This son is maybe the child of a divorcee. Father married a divorcee, or maybe the father married a chalutza, sort of a divorcee. You know, they're supposed to marry the sister-in-law, but he didn't, or maybe it wasn't actually his sister-in-law. It was someone else's, and she ended up getting chalitza. So this is a woman that the Kayan's not supposed to marry. He married her and he had this child. So v'achtinu, because of that rumor, we lowered him down. We took him off the status of the Kohen. Now, this is just explaining, the Rashbam says, this is just explaining why we needed one witness to testify. So So we thought he was a Kayan because his father's a Kayan. A rumor comes out that he's not a Kayan, so we make him not a Kayan. One witness comes and says, no, this is not him. His mother wasn't that. His mother was perfectly fine, was permitted to a Kayan. So we make him back a Kayan. Okay, so we have one witness that says he's a Kayan. Also, Beit Shrei v'Amrid ben Gerusha v'Chalutza. Two witnesses show up and say, no, he's not. He's ben Gerusha ben Chalutza. So now it's 2 against 1. V'achtinu, we take him down. Another witness, a single witness comes, Ramad the Kayanu, says that he is a Kayan. Now it becomes 2 against 2. With the Kuli Alma Mitzdarfis Eidas, and everyone would agree, that's what we're making an assumption right now. The assumption is that in this discussion over here, because we have a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Lazar, and Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, everyone would agree that if you have one witness and another witness shows up later on, that we can combine those 2 witnesses into a 2-witness pair. Everyone's agreeing to that, which is an assumption. So what's the machlokes here between Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, which we said that they both seem to be saying the same thing, so there must be a difference. So the machlokes would be Rabbi Lazar holds that once we bring him down, we make him not a Kayan, we don't bring him back up. Let's read that into the words. Rabbi Lazar says, "Hey Masai, when do we say that we'll bring him up? We won't bring him up with one witness. But if there's no iron, then we will bring him up according by one witness." What does it mean? Makom she'ein iron. Problem is, I'm reading it back into for original text. When do we bring him up? So, according to Rabbi Lazar will say that once we bring him down, we don't bring him up. So I guess what we're going to read is like this: if there are contesters, then even though we have 2 witnesses combined, we still won't bring him up. That's what we're saying. Even though we have 2 witnesses combined, we won't bring him up to be a Kayan. And the reason for that is because we are concerned about the disgrace for the Besdin. At first they said that he's not a Kayan, and now they're going to say that he is a Kayan. Yeah. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Savar. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel holds differently. He holds no, we're not concerned about that. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel's words were that I can use one witness to bring him up to be a Kayan. Now, what do you mean one witness? You already had 2 witnesses that said that he's not a Kayan. Yeah, because then now I have one witness that came after the second witness that combines with the witness that came before the 2 witnesses. And now we say that we bring him back into a Kayan. Is Zilusa de Beidin alay cheshinan? Yeah, we're not concerned about Zilusa de Beidin. And we'll bring him down, we'll bring him up. There's a lot of times we have cases that are similar to this, but it's totally different. No connection. But a lot of times there's Kayanim today that they want to marry a divorcee or something. And so they look into the background. Were they really a Kayan? Maybe they weren't really a Kayan. So somewhere in the background, they find that someone wasn't religious. They don't really, it's not a full chazaka. They thought that they were a Kayan. Someone said that they're a Kayan, but they can challenge that. So they go to a rabbi and they say, we don't really know that's Kayan. And the rabbi says, okay, so you're not a Kayan, you can go ahead and get married. Meanwhile, this guy has brothers that are duchening. And this and the thing. So, and yeah, it could be children as well. And it looks very odd, like a very strange thing. Someone told me it was at a wedding like that. And it was a Kayan, an ex-Kayan, let's call him, an ex-Kayan with the divorcee. And and then when it came to benching, so they said, should we say B'shus Kayan, B'shus? Anyway.
Does the
He didn't go up when they asked for the go up.
No, they stopped doing everything. Yeah,
the mitzvah of getting married, having like that trump the prohibition of getting married.
that's an interesting question. Remember where we had that? We had that in I think in Subas, we had that question about if the mitzvahs say of getting married overrides some of these negative prohibitions. So this is it. We said no. We said not. That was the conclusion. It was not. But there was a discussion there. Okay, Maskefla Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi has a question. What we just said right now is sort of that there's a focus between Rab Shimon ben Gamliel and Rab Elazar if we're chayshinan, if we suspect for zilusa de beidina, for a disgrace for Bezdin. Rav Nachman, if you remember before, he said that first he said that we're not concerned about a disgrace for Bezdin. Then he accepted Rava that says we are concerned about a disgrace for Bezdin. Then he went back and he said that we're not concerned about a disgrace for Bezdin. We was relying on a bunch of opinions. Well, we don't really have a bunch of opinions yet. We just have a machlekes. Maskla Rav Ashi has a question. Says, why do we have to have a case where one witness came before, two witnesses came and said that he's not a Kayan, and then one witness comes at the end? If our concern over here is not if we combine a witness from before to a witness after, then why do you make a complicated case? Just have two witnesses came that said that he's not, two witnesses came that he said that he is. We'll make him back to Kayan. If your whole concern is elusive the Beidina, so then just do 2 and 2. Two witnesses came and said he's not a Kayan. Okay, so now he's not a Kayan. Two witnesses came and they said that he is. Okay, so he's back his. Yeah. Yeah, we have this. These things come up. This where exactly was it? The Tanan. Subas, we had it. Of Gimel. Well, so the Gemara answers. He answers like this. Elam Ravashi, rather Ravashi says the Kuli the Beidina. Everyone agrees that we're not concerned about the disgrace for Bezdin. We don't mind if Bezdin changes their mind. They say yes, they say no, they go back and forth. That's fine. Here, the whole machlekes is, can I combine two witnesses, one from before and one from after, and say that that's considered a pair? That's the machlekes. Well, right now, we've resolved the question that we had on Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman said that he's going to, Rava has this question on him. Rav Menachem bar Rabbi Yosef holds that, Rav Nachman bar Rabbi Yosef holds that we're concerned about Zilusa de Beidina. So why did he just take the person out of the property? They said, no, Rav Nachman has a support from 3 great rabbis. Now we've just said that, yes, he does have that support. That all, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Elazar, and Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel are all going to hold that we're not concerned about Zilusa de Beidina. So then what's the machlekes between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, which we were talking about? The machlekes is, can you combine one witness from before and one witness now to make it into a pair of 2 witnesses? And it's a machlekes of other sages. We'll see in this following brisa.
Like a statute of limitations when new witnesses or new information come out after.
I don't think so. Is there a statute of limitations in Florida? How long is it? If it's a monetary case, is there a statute of limitation? Like how long you can bring proof? It depends.
Like lawyers is one, like medical is another.
When it comes to criminal things, is there you find out a guy robbed the bank 50 years ago?
Oh, that you're messing with the government. They've come
There's no
after you
statute of
anytime.
limitation.
But the IRS, yes,
Uh-huh.
IRS might be 5 years. I'm not sure if it's 3 or 5 years.
Oh.
Even if they find out that taxes were not correctly done, they can do anything.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't know.
Yes.
You got another rule.
Okay, now you're cleared for those years. You only have to worry about the last.
Last year, they got used to get.
Okay. The Tanya was starting a brisa. The first part of the brisa apparently is not relevant to what we need to say. We only want the second part. But the brisa says like this. If you want to use two witnesses, they have to actually see what happens together. It's according to the first opinion over here. Testifying that someone borrowed money. So one witness says that I was there when the person borrowed the money. Other witness says I was there when he testified that when he admitted that he borrowed the money. That won't really combine. Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha says no, even one after the other, that would be good enough. Now, Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha is adding a very interesting thing. He's saying that even if the one witness testified that on Sunday he borrowed money, and then the second witness says on Monday he borrowed money, seems like it's not the same case. Nevertheless, that's going to be acceptable. Why? Because both of them are testifying that he owes him money, that Reuven owes Shimon money. Both of them are testifying to the same concept. Both testifying to the same idea that he owes him money, even though it's happened on different days. Now the Gemara says, you have to put a period in the Gemara, that the testimony is only accepted if they testify in court together. Reb Nosson says no, they don't have to come together. Reb Nosson says that one witness can come today, another witness come tomorrow, and we say, okay, well, it's good enough. We'll combine them together. It looks like that's the halacha, at least from this Dalet in my Ein Mishpat. We would paskin like Reb Nosson. Discussed that not where's this price? Yeah, it says that it's in Sanhedrin. Okay, that's the end of this Gemara. But what we did over here in this Gemara was that we established that we're not concerned about Zilusa de Beidina, and turns out that what would the machlekes be between Reb Shimon ben Gamliel and Reb Elazar was if you can combine witnesses. One came before, one after. Reb Nosson says yes, and that would be whose opinion? That would be Reb Shimon ben Gamliel's opinion, and the Rabbanan say no, and that would be the opinion of Reb Elazar. Now, over here in Sanhedrin, it's a discussion if they have to come together or not. Is a discussion if it's logic or if it's a pasuk. Okay. Was a person that said to his friend, "My boy's bahayara. What are you doing in my property?" That's a classic case in this chapter. What are you doing in my property? Says, what do you mean? I bought it from you. You don't remember me? And this is the document. He pulls out a document.
Whoa.
Seems like there's no case. That's a document. It's good to go. Amalei, the person says, that document is a forgery. Now, he didn't have a chazaka. He wasn't there 3 years, so he really needs the document. Without the document, he doesn't have But below, we know who the Marakam is. We know who the original owner is, and he's claiming that he bought it. And if he doesn't have the document, it's
But if we can see if it still has the money that received from the buyer.
that the guy is going to say, "What do you mean? That's my money. That's nothing to do with the buyer. It's the purchaser." You know, there's the original owner that has money in his bank. How do you have that money if it's not from the sale? You can say, "Well, I got it from somewhere else." That's not a proof that he.
Even though they use the whole insanity thing.
What do you mean insanity in this
Oh,
case?
the
No, that's when it comes to criminal things.
Yeah.
This would be, this is just that he has a forged document. He has a forged document. He's trying to use a forged document to get a house, to get a property. This is right. So, the fellow leans over to Rabbah and he whispers into his ear, the truth is that it's true. It is a forgery. However, I just want to let you know that I actually had the correct document, Birkus, but I lost it. So I just made this one, I made a copy. That's what he's basically saying. I made a copy because I don't have the original. So yes, this is a forgery, but I did have the original at one point. But Amina, I thought, at least I'll have something. I'll bring this. Maybe it'll work. Maybe not. Well, I'm a Rabbah. Rabbah says, Malil Shaker. If he wanted to lie, he never would have said that. As amigo. He wanted to lie. He wouldn't have said that it's a forgery. You see, apparently this document there's different ways of approaching this, but if it was a forgery, it was so good that he never had to admit to it. In other words, the witnesses would have testified for whatever reason. There's different options of why the witnesses would testify. Either they copied the signatures perfectly, or the document actually was a type of document that they actually signed on, but it just wasn't a proof for this. But he could have gotten away with saying that it was a real document.
With the get, the Basin keeps a copy of the get.
This gives the real get. And they just give
so
Sunday morning. Just a similar story. When I was young and started in practice. No, so I finally started to make money. So I bought my wife jewelry because for years, I didn't even have an engagement. She never got engaged. You didn't have any money. Started making money, buy her gold necklaces, diamonds on this neck. She gave it away each year and make it different. But everyone knew that her necklaces and this and that, the gold and diamonds were real because she's making money. This that. Come to my son's bar mitzvah. She shows up at the bar mitzvah with these beautiful diamond earrings, beautiful matching diamond necklaces. Where'd you get that? She goes, "Oh, I got that in like Claire." She says, "The whole thing cost $10." I said, "I don't understand. Your necklaces and earrings that's worth $1,000. Why do you wear something for $10?" She goes, "It looks good." Real anyway. They'll think you're real. No one will ask a question. Everyone thought they were real. This is what reminds me. They wouldn't even question the forgery.
the reputation.
I couldn't get away with that.
What?
Yeah.
I couldn't get away with that.
It was true story.
Dr. Stein is telling a story about his wife's jewelry.
Yeah, it's definitely going in Divrei Rennie.
Okay.
How can a liar get amigo?
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Wow.
Very good. Well, in general, just in the defense of this, in general, every migu really is that if he wanted to lie, he would have said differently. So what we're saying is that the fact that he's not giving his best claim is telling me that what he's saying is the truth. So here, he could have said that the document is good. Could have said that. So we're going to trust him about this case. Now, the problem that you're bringing up is that what are you trusting him that what? You're trusting him that the document is good. He's presenting a document that's not good. He's telling us that if he wanted to lie, he would have said the document is good. What did he really say? The document is not good. So what do you want to do? You want to tell him, you want to make his document good when he tells us himself that it's not good, based on the fact that he could have said that it is good. So we're going to say that now it is good. He told us that it's not good. Right? That's the problem. Samalei, 1 second. I didn't finish Rabbi yet. Rabbi says, if he wanted, he could have said that the document is good. Samalei Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef responds, this is what Rabbi Naftali was bringing up. What? I think you have to divide this up into 2 phrases. Maybe. Why are you relying on this document? You can't say that this document is going to be good when he himself told us that it's not good. Yeah.
Yeah, that gets rid of
It's
the
very-
presumption.
It's very like hard to put together. He's saying, "Oh, the document is a fake," and we're gonna take it like it's real.
As if it's good, right?
But he's at the same time saying, but I actually had the original document.
Right.
That's what's different. If he never added the.
What if this
it's just
guy
such a
know
fact.
about the learn this Gemara?
If the fellow learned this Gemara, and then what would happen?
It was fake to begin with, and then he just uses this claim.
So
Like he never had it.
The Hasidic Shatan.
the Rashbam there's a very interesting Rashbam here. He says that this is considered like a migu b'makam edim. When I have witnesses, I have witnesses that are saying one thing, and someone has a migu again that contradicts the witnesses. So we don't trust the migu because the witnesses are stronger than the migu. The Rashbam is saying that what's going on here is that because he's admitting that the document is a fake, so that's like I have 2 witnesses that are saying that the document is a fake. Now he has a migu that he could have said that it's not a fake. So that's a migu in b'makam edim. I have witnesses that say that it is. So his migu is out the door. We don't trust the migu. That's the Rashbam's approach. Tosfos over here, his approach is that it's a migu lahaitzi. You're trying to get this property based on amigo, and amigo is only to keep something in your possession. But over here, it's not considered that he had possession of it. Why doesn't he have possession? Because he doesn't have a good document and he doesn't have a chazaka. So it's just that he's claimed that he has a document, and we're trying to use amigo for him to be able to keep the property. It's not strong. Amigo is not strong enough for this. Yeah, that's Tosfos' approach. Okay, so we have another story that's very similar to the first one. The Huda Amalei Lechavri was a person that said to his friend, "Havli mea zuze de maskinabach v'ashtara." How did he translate maskina? That I lent you.
Collect.
Give me 100 zuz, the masikna bach, masikna, that I lent
That
you.
I am attempting to collect.
That you owe me. Okay. That you owe me. And here's the document. He says, you owe me $100, and here's the document, pay me. Amalei Shtara Zaifu. So he tells him back, the document is a forgery. He leans over to Rabbah. He says, the truth is, Shtara Zaifu. Yeah, it is a forgery. The only thing is, I had a good document, I just lost it. And I said, it says, at least I should have something in my hands. Yeah, I think I said this once. One of the Dayanim told me that he was in Bezdin, and someone presented a document, and he looked at it, and the document was dated like 1980 something. So he said, "This is a forgery." He said, "How do you know?" He said, "Because the font is David from Microsoft David. That only came out in 90 something. So,
The FBI would do the same thing with ink. All inks that are made, the year it's made, has a kind of DNA to it.
oh really?
So they would test the ink on the document, and again, the same way. If the ink didn't come out to this, and it was made for
Wow.
a document that, they would know exactly.
Wow. Wow.
But
But the forgers know how to forge stuff. They age it. They know how to make stuff look
Yeah,
old.
but making it look old is one thing, but as they say, this is mamish like DNA. They have a way of identifying exactly.
Okay, so we have the same story over here. Amar Rabba. Rabba says, "Mala l'shaker." We have to believe him. He said he has another document, and he didn't have to tell us that this was a forgery. Or he had another document. Ibai Amar Star Mali, you could have said that this was a good document. So that's amigo. We should trust him. Amalei Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says the same thing back. What are you going to believe him? Going to believe him that the document is good? He himself told us that the document is not good. This was this question that they asked when we say Bari Veshema Bari Adif. If one person is a definite claim, another person has a maybe claim, right? So who do we believe? The one that's definite. So he said, why don't we believe the one that's maybe, that he has a migu, that he could have said that he is 100% sure? And the answer is that we do believe him. We believe him that he doesn't know. We believe him that he doesn't know means he doesn't win the case. So here it's something similar to that. You want us to believe him? Okay, we'll believe him that it's a forgery. Could have said a different claim. So in the end of the story, even if we believe him, but that's what he told us, is that it's not good. Well, Amar Ravidi Baravin, Ravidi Baravin says, Hilchasa Kavasei de Rava Ba'ara. He says, when it comes to the land, we're going to keep the guy in the land because he was there already. When it comes to collecting a loan, we're going to leave the money in the hands of the borrower because he's the one that has the money right now. Because the land was in his possession, so we're going to leave it there. We're going to pass like Rabbi Yosef when it comes to the money, that we're not going to believe the person with the document that's coming to collect, because the Heichad the Kaimazuz, look, maybe because we're just going to leave it there, which means Ravidi Baravin didn't know how to paskin in this case. So he said we're just going to leave it on its status whatever it was.
In all these cases, this testimony is like the first testimony. It's not like he changes it.
What do you mean changes it?
Like if he presents the document, then when he sees that rabbis are looking over it, he says, "Oh, by the way, this is not the original one. I had the original."
Right. That's what's happening. He presents a document. The guy tells him it's a forgery. So he says that it's true, it's a forgery, but I have an original one, and yeah.
But with the whole dividing the stuff, like never, like he wouldn't be assumed that he was saying the truth. Like once it would change.
You mean there's a problem with changing his claim?
Yeah, like what? That's the next best thing he could say.
No, he thought he could get away. That's why he made the
Yeah,
exception.
it's not changing his claim. Not changing his claim. It's changing his support, his evidence. But
If the rabbis say, "Look, this doesn't look good," the next best claim that he has is that, "Oh, I had the original, and this is."
no, the only difference is that no one said that it's not good, except for that one individual that's arguing with him. He could have kept the claim that it's good, and it would have actually been valid. Witnesses would have testified that it's good.
Even the other witnesses would have testified.
Even the witnesses that signed on it would have validated it. Yeah. Either he copied it so perfectly, he could have gotten away with it. That's the case here. Who Arva?
Just was that thing where I was going DNA in the ink called taggings. Taggings, that's what they put in the ink every year. I mean, I don't know if it goes back thousands of years.
But if you make your own ink, you don't have that. It's only,
It's a great idea.
so what the government is mixing into every pen that someone makes ink.
No, commercial ones. So in other words, if
But if I get-
HP or
Oh, so if I get if I don't buy HP ink, so then I don't have that in it.
or if you make your own, it's like making your own rum. What can I say? Just on commercial inks have tags in them to identify.
Wow,
And said, so the example is you have a document
wow.
that says 2000.
Maybe that's why they make you such a big deal. If you put in
2000.
a different ink in your printer, they're like, we recognize it's not the
The
original.
original.
Well, I don't know. I think they just want to sell you.
I know, that's what I thought. They just wanted to
Right.
sell you. Now you're telling me it's like, oh, they want to also track everything.
No, they don't want to track. That would be the FBI.
Maybe they get a cut.
They work with them.
However, there was a guarantor. There's a guarantor on a loan. Damalei Laloive, he says to the borrower, Havli me'azuzi de parati lamalve lavach. He says, I paid back your debt.
Right.
The reason why I paid back your debt was because I was the guarantor on it. And when the creditor came to collect the money, I paid it. So now I want you to pay me. And here's actually the document of the debt that the creditor had given me because I paid back the document. What's supposed to happen is when there's a promissory note, so when the borrower pays the document, so that he gets the promissory note back. Right? When he pays up that, he gets the promissory note. So here it wasn't paid by the borrower, it was paid by the guarantor. So now who ends up with the document? Not the creditor, but the guarantor now has the document. It says, and here's the document. So I want you to pay me the money that you owe me because I paid back your debt. Amalei. So the borrower says to the guarantor, says, Lab praticha. Didn't I pay you already? I paid you already. You coming, you're collecting twice. Amar, what's that? Hey, Amalei. But didn't you borrow it again? So what's happening here is he's using an old document of the original loan to be able to collect money for the second loan.
Double dipping.
He's using the original document. I don't know if there was a document for the second loan.
Return of a loan in the document is
Yeah.
given back or ripped up. So why would the
So-
document still be around?
So what happened was,
It sounds like it sounds like both of them don't have a document for either part of the second. In other words, the guy said, "I already paid you back." He doesn't have a proof, and then now he's saying that you went to the second time, you borrowed the second time. He doesn't have proof. It looks like they both don't have it.
right. What happened was this guy ends up. Let's say there's Reuven, Shimon, Levi. Reuven borrows money. Shimon's a guarantor, and they borrowed from Levi. So now Shimon goes and pays the debt. He goes to Levi, pays up the debt from Reuven. So he ends up with the document of Reuven's debt to Levi. He ends up holding that document. So he comes back to Reuven. He says, "You owe me money for paying off your debts, and here's the document." So Reuven says, Reuven pays him. But somehow he ended up keeping that document. When Reuven borrowed money from Shimon, he's now using that original document to collect that money. So Reuven's saying, but that debt that you're collecting, I already paid. He said, yeah, but you borrowed again. So this is a document for that. So Shalcha Ravidi Baravan the Kameda Abaya. Ravidi Baravan had a question what to do in this case. So he sends a question to Abaya. Okay, Gavramai, what should I do? So Shalach le Abaya, Abaya sends back, Mighty Boyle. Why do you have the question? You the Amar Hilchasa Kabaseder Rav Bar, Hilchasa Kabaseder Rabbi Yosef Bezuzi, Decheduk Mezuzi Lukmo. You were the one that you paskin on this before, and now you're asking me a question. You were the one that said that there was a machlekes Rab and Rabbi Yosef. You just leave it in its status wherever it was. So here also, he should not be able to collect the money because the money is in the hands of the borrower, and you're using a document that's not acceptable. Bahani Mili, these words would only be Damalei Hadras Osaftinu Minoi. That you borrowed again, you paid it back and you borrowed again, so it's a brand new loan. However, if he would have said that when Ruvain pays the money to Shimon, because Shimon had paid the debt to Levi, if he would have told Ruvain, he says, I really can't take this money. It's not a good currency. The coins are worn out, the copper doesn't look right. Says, can you please get me better money? So then that original document would still be valid because he would still be able to use it. Over here, it's not just, it's not that he's telling him to go bring me the money again. He actually accepted the money and then he lent it back to him. That's when he can't use that original document because the original debt was already completed.
So, Ruvain.
Ruvain borrows money from Levi.
Okay, yeah.
Shimon's a
Ruvain
guarantor.
borrows- guarantor.
Shimon pays the debt to Levi. He goes to Ruvain to collect the money that he paid. So Ruvain gives him the money, and Shimon gives it right back to him
And then gives
because
it right
to
back.
borrow it. He borrows it back. And now, when it comes to collecting,
What is that like the guarantor?
the guarantor means that Ruvain didn't want to lend, that Levi didn't want to lend the money because Ruvain is a poor guy. He doesn't know if he's ever going to get paid back.
Yeah.
So he says Shimon has money, and if Ruvain doesn't pay, I should get from Shimon. It turns out that the way this was set up is that he doesn't have to go to Ruvain first; he can go to Shimon first.
Directly.
They can go Shimon directly. Either it was a kablan or it was made up.
The guarantor.
The guarantor.
But what was part 3 where Shimon goes to Ruvain?
Now,
wants more
what happened?
money?
What
was
happened
it?
in the end? There's two possibilities. At the end of this case, either Ruvain pays back Shimon, and then he tells Shimon, "By the way, can I borrow it again?"
Again.
Okay. So then he wouldn't be able to use that. Shimon won't be able to use that original document to collect it. The other possibility is Ruvain pays Shimon, and Shimon tells Ruvain that can you take this money back because I want it to be paid back in better coins. So then he's able to use the original document, even though Ruvain ends up with the money in both cases. But one case he's able to use the original document, one case he's not. Rava bar Sharsham, Nafakala called the Kachalar the Yasmi. Rava bar Sharsham, this rumor goes out that he was in the property of orphans and he was eating he was consuming the property of the orphans. Amalei Abaya approaches him about this. He says, Emily, Easy, tell me, my friend. Easy, I think, means my friend. His name is Easy. Is that what it says, translates to this? Easy, my friend. Tell me now. Easy means now. Oh, I think I remember Easy as my friend. What does he say? Tell me, my friend.
This one says, tell me now.
Yeah, Easy could mean now or a friend. So, tell me exactly what happened over here. Tell me the story. There's a rumor going on about you. Tell me the story. He approaches him directly. So Amrleh says to him like this: Ara the mashkanta habinakitna me'avun diyasmi. What happened was there was something called a mashkanta desura, that if someone owes money, he's able to give a property as a collateral, but instead of just being a collateral until he pays back, the person actually goes into the property and starts to use the property, deducting from the loan whatever he uses in the property. So every year he deducts from the loan a certain amount of money, and that's how he gets rid of the debt. So he said, I had lent the father of these orphans money. He gave me a mashkanta, gave me this collateral, and I was using it to deduct from the debt. And I also had another debt with him, another a loan that I had given him. Okay. Now, what happened was when he finished the deducting the debt, when he finished deducting the debt because of the from the first debt, because he had used the property for so many years, so now he's holding on to the property to deduct for the new debt. So Amina, because I thought like this, Ima Adrana Le'arli asked me if I give the property back, which that's what he was supposed to do. And I would tell them that, by the way, your father owes me more money, and I'm giving you this property back. Amar Rabbanan, the rabbis say, I'm going to have to take an oath. So since I have the property already in my hands, so why should I get involved in the oath? Let me just get rid of the debt. I'll hold on to it a little bit longer, and I'll consume the property more, and I'll be able to pay it back on my own. Ella let me just conceal the document that says how many years I was supposed to hold it. And those years are up. Let me just conceal that. And I'll just finish off with the second debt. I'll just hold on to it a little bit longer. No one knows anything. And he's not stealing. He's just getting paid back from this property, which that wasn't the original arrangement. He says like the migu, I should be believed that if I would say that I purchased the property and it's mine, I was in the property for more than 3 years, I would be believed. You see, he got rid of the when he gets rid of it's totally not true. That would be a lie. But because he could have said that and he could have kept the property, so you shouldn't so kiamina you should trust me that I have a debt. And basically the migu is supposed to help him get out of the oath. Usually when you collect from the orphans, you have to make an oath. He's trying to get out of that by having a migu that he could have said that the property was his. Right. Exactly. Amalei says to him, you would never get away with saying that you purchased the property, even though you were there for 3 years. And the reason is because since there's a rumor that this property belongs to orphans, so that rumor itself is as if there's a protest that the property isn't yours. And when there's a protest, you have to hold the document for more than 3 years. That's what the idea is. 3 years is that since he didn't protest. But here, the rumor itself is like a protest. So you're not going to be able to say that. So therefore, Elazila Hadranale, rather give the property back. When the orphans grow up, you'll have to do everything correctly. Basically, he's telling him to do things according to the system, not to try to finagle to beat around the system.
And if everything was truth, like, why not just take the oath?
No, he doesn't. He wants to avoid the oath anyway. Yeah, but he's going to have to take the oath even afterwards, right? When you collect, even when they're older, I think you have to take an oath.
It's a shame you would think that no one would take advantage of someone
Yeah. I don't think this is taking advantage though. This is not because they owed him the money. He's just avoiding waiting until they grow up to be able to do it. But they really owed him the money. I mean, the father borrowed the money.
Yeah, but I'm just so eventually the mascotas eventually get up the fact that when you do it, right? His intent was to get it back. Right, this and that. I mean, his youngest son. I experienced this personally because I lost my father when I was 11, and it was what my mother went through. Wow. And this, just still.
Okay. Kreve the Rabidi Baravin Shachiv, Shavak Dikla, a relative.
Wait, just to clarify, does the orphan have to be mother and father, or can it just be orphan of the father?
I think it's even orphan of the father. I think because he doesn't know what the arrangement was. He wait for him to grow. He doesn't know what to claim.
Usually the father was a provider and inherited.
Krevi de Ravidi Baravin Shachav Shavak Dikla, the relative of Ravidi Baravin passed away, and he left over a date palm. That's right. Ravidi Baravin, Ravidi Baravin says, I'm the closest relative, so that's mine. Ugavra Amar, there was another person that said, I'm a much closer relative, it's mine. In the end, this fellow admitted to Ravidi that he's really the closer relative. Took me Rav Chisda biyadei, and Rav Chisda gave it to Rav Idi Baravin because the guy admitted. So what's the case? Why is there even a discussion? Well, Amalei, Rav Idi Baravin says to Rav Chisda, why don't he should pay me for all the fruits that he ate from the thing, because he admitted that it's mine. So that means all the years that he was keeping it for himself, he was eating my fruits. Now that he admitted, it goes to me. That's a good claim. Amar, so Rav Chisda says, are you the guy that they say that you're a great person? And you're saying this claim? Aman kasamechmar. Who are you relying on? Ahai, on this fellow that just admitted to you. He's the one that's saying right now that he was ahai. He was saying, I guess beforehand he was saying that he was a closer relative. It's only now that he admitted. Now, I think what's going on here is that the fact that he's admitting now may not mean that he's really admitting that that's the actual fact. Maybe he's just giving it to you as a gift now, and now you're trying to go back. He's saying, okay, fine, you're the closer relative. He's giving it, not saying that I was lying the whole time. Doesn't just the fact that he's giving it now doesn't prove that.
So he's admitting the other person.
That's the way the Rashbam is saying it. He's just giving it to you as a gift, even though you didn't win it in court. Yeah. So Abaya v'Rava le'sfir lahu had Rav Chisda. Abaya and Rava.
Just a question is, wasn't one of the cases where you had this father, 3 years is there where he was demanding past rent from the person when one of the case?
Yeah, we had that before.
Isn't that?
No, that's when you win a case.
Well, isn't technically.
He's not winning, but he's saying you're not really winning it. The guy's just admitting, but that just could mean that he's giving it to you as a gift.
Oh, so that's like the older cases where the guy was molded before based him, and then he cleared himself of something else. I don't remember what it was. Remember, he quickly said, no, it's okay. Come on, don't remember anything you want. You know, he right away admits before Adam or before based him, whatever it was.
He allows it.
By Maida Beknas, when he admits
right. So
before
then
a
he
fine,
didn't have to pay the penalty.
doesn't have to pay the penalty.
Come on, guys.
Okay. So
I don't remember what I had this morning, but I remember what I learned a year ago.
Here, is there any difference? Maybe the value of the fruit is worth more than the tree at this point.
Oh, I don't know about that. Doesn't seem like that matters. So Abaye v'Rav le'sfir lahad Rav Chisda. They don't hold a Rav Chisda, and the reason is, given the Oidi, they say no. Once you admitted, it's too late. You admitted, and you should really have to pay back everything. Produce. Chin halacha. That's the Rashbam writes. Yeah. Okay. Some other discussion here. Let's leave the Gemara here. This tomorrow is a very small daf.
I'm sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
I said,
Have a good
you
day.
finished it.
So there was 33.